problem. Thank you very much, Jane Barr with Eden Housing. I'm reminded of the quote, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. We've come out of a period of economic slump where there was basically no housing produced between 2008 and 2016, and that has hurt, you've got a supply-demand factor. If we didn't have supply, we've got huge demand for apartments and houses, and the rents are astronomical. We're not going to be able to make up for that in a short period of time, but we do need to have to keep up with our progress towards our RENA goals in the next period of time. Although we stated that we've met 50% of our RENA goals, we have not met 50% of our RENA goals. That chart showed that there were over 100% of the above mod, which is market housing, the very low and lower, each less than 10%, so they'll be misled by that. The housing element, the state now will enforce not just a plan, but on meeting your goals, but you need to enforce and adopt the consequences in regard to streamlining projects without your ability to say anything. Also loss of funds to the county, which is very important. Can't even read my own writing today. So this is a new time of partnerships are needed to provide affordable housing for the community and to meet the state demands in order to save funding. What the county can do, you can work with affordable housing developers and market rate developers to develop housing. You can develop and provide incentives, assist with entitlements, prioritize them, perhaps consider assigning one planner just to work with affordable housing developers so they know the business and how it works. Revision of fees, there are a number of ways. Specifically, the number one I would say is charge fees on a square foot, not a unit basis. So a 6,000 square foot house doesn't have the same fees as a 600 square foot apartment. You can also delay payments until the certificate of occupancy, or even have them be paid on a residual receipts basis. And there's a possibility of waiving of fees as well. I don't think the county needs to apply for funding. That's what the affordable housing developers are here for, and you're also in Monterey County, and most of your funding is coming through that. So for the most part, you don't. I don't see that you need to do that. Really, the county has to assist with delivering the sites. The MS Triangle is a perfect site. The 40 units out in the middle of nowhere. Inlet fees could be used for shelter. It could be used for other affordable housing. There are good ways to use those fees. So the good news is you have affordable housing partners. There's 3 or 4 of us working in this county. There's no better time for affordable housing with SB2 and SB3. SB2 is set to fund you on the basis of your urban county, so it's great that that was done. Those funds will be coming in through that HUD entitlement process, so you'll be getting a certain amount of funds on that. And I'm happy to volunteer to assist or provide technical assistance in the ad hoc committee in regard to a program to promote an affordable housing developer. We don't need to, and one other thing, I think you do need to fill the position of housing program manager, so you have someone focused on this. I don't believe it's been filled.
Go ahead. Good afternoon, Board of Supervisors. My name is Luis Preciado. I'm with Midland Housing Corporation. On behalf of Midland, I want to thank Supervisor Luis for bringing this referral and all the supervisors and staff for preparing this report and the recommendations and for making a more intentional action or step to and focus on how to actually meet the housing production needs goal in our county. Not only by using the housing element plan and not only relying on the inclusionary housing ordinance. I think it's a great report and it has great ideas that meet and can help increase the arena housing numbers and affordable housing units available for all the various different income types and families that we serve. Regarding the 3-year short-term plan, I think there's tremendous value in there in identifying new sites and reconsidering the land use for the existing sites, prioritizing the sites, streamlining the process, using the overlay tools to position these projects for the future, which will be better positioned and well to compete with other applicants that will be coming after these funds once they are available. The county plays a very important role in housing, permanent supportive housing, and the overall health of the residents. I also think that it is great that the county is preparing to be ready for these future financing opportunities and trying to get projects shovel ready and entitled. I also think that it's important for the county to consider to keep current commitments to projects that are already under construction, such as our project, Moongate Plaza in Salinas, Chinatown. These projects take a lot of time to get them to that phase, and we rely on commitments to, continue delivering on the mission. They're ready to partner and continue our partnership with other, with the county or other jurisdictions, for-profits or non-profits to continue on that effort and to make sure that, these projects are successful and the residents are successful in that work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Chair, Board of Supervisors, staff, thank you very much for an excellent presentation. Lots of good information, lots of current good information to chew on. Let me just hit on a few items here, and also want to ask for my colleague Alfred Diaz-Ponte's time, since he wasn't able to make it. So. I did want to highlight that Cashville Oaks is certainly one of the huge priorities for the county, for Chispa, and for Monterey Economic Partnership as an investment, one of our key investments. I think we should all look at it as a demonstration project. And in terms of potentially even allocating some particular staff time, like a laser beam, this is a perfect example of a site that makes sense. There's already some funding committed, there's entitlement effort, lots of energy for that. Let's make it happen sooner than later. What kind of things do we need to move out of the way to get it done? And there's plenty of other projects that can very easily be like that. We saw some of them today. Some of them obviously need some work. But any kind of site that we identify as a priority because it's next to services, it's compact development, it has already some components that work, let's get it done. And we're going to have to be bold. We're going to have to lock hands, work together, and the voices of no will have to work through that. Because the time is now. The farm worker study came out recently and put, another, added more weight to the scale in terms of 5,300 permanent housing opportunities that need to happen in the next 5+ years, right? In basically the short term. And so that to me is the difference between, we got to get this plan right. We have to identify the universe of opportunities that make sense. We're building a coalition of the willing to move that forward. And we also got to continue with the lower hanging fruit. So that's why we worked with several of you to start this ad hoc committee process, because for the employer sponsored piece, we can't just neglect that. We have to do a both and. It's not an either or. We need that to continue moving forward because that takes pressure off of the other permanent and temporary housing stock that we have, the motels that aren't available for some of our homeless folks. And then, this afternoon, right, having that conversation about why that's impacted, why we have kids on the street. It's all connected. It's all connected. And this is about having a plan that, again, at least a plan that's very different from reality. I get it, but let's at least have a plan that works and addresses our regional housing needs. It's unacceptable that we're this far along, almost halfway through the period, and we're now thinking and realizing that we only have 6%. And, our plan is inadequate. If everything were good and we had a bucket of money and we had enough land, we wouldn't be able to achieve our basic needs. That's unacceptable. We can't repeat that mistake again. Let's get it right this time. We're looking for you to leadership. You have us as affordable housing advocates here, nonprofits, residents, business leaders coming together. Let's get it done. Thank you.
Chair, Board of Supervisors, good afternoon. I'll keep this short, seeing that it's almost, it's actually lunch already. I just wanted to say thank you to the Board of Supervisors and to the county staff for conducting this survey and for all the valuable information in the survey. We really do appreciate it. And I'm with the Housing Development Corporation. Thank you.
Hi, Wes White, Salinas resident. President is homeless unit, so quite a bit of this kind of pertains. We were talking, when folks mentioned the deputy sheriffs and firefighters that couldn't qualify. There's a lot of people who actually work and they do have cars. but they're too poor to afford rent. So I don't think, you know, I mean, it becomes more a discrimination factor. Oh, they're too poor, so obviously they can't live here. So that kind of, I guess, you know, it's determination and tenacity of people. And they, when people do take care of their stuff, they can make it last and make investments. So they know how to do that. And it's just a matter of how we treat people. And I think that just offended me a little bit. That, you know, the other property owners want to opt out. I think it should be built. And, you know, because people can commute. We know how to commute. I mean, we have to do it every day. Even just going from, yeah, everything is a journey and experience just to do one errand. It seems like an email can take half hour, an hour. Just to do something that is going to take 5 minutes. So I'd like to see that piece built. And yeah, keep on doing more affordable housing. Oh, that triangle right there, the Invest Triangle. You want to throw everybody in the Fort Ord, please do so. You know, there's your property to affordable build, your Fort Ord utopia that you keep on trying to send all the homeless to. I do think it's ironic that there's we're trying to do retail on the bottom of 1220. That doesn't seem appropriate. You know, it seems out of our league, like that's what our tax revenue is for. So I don't see why we're going into business. So that seems a little weird. I do expect there to be a 4-story level. I thought we had 2¼ acres right there. And I thought we were using that for transitional housing, maybe even permanent housing for, you know, HUD or whatever. So, yeah.